All right, our last topic of the day of this episode. You've seen it on What's Happening in Bluffton. You've probably seen their pleas across social media. Bluffton Youth Theatre. I said this at the top of the show. What they do in, first of all, bringing youth to the arts and experiencing and embracing the arts is no small feat, and it's fantastic. But what they're doing in terms of bringing special needs children with autism, Down syndrome, ADHD, neurodivergent, you're bringing them together with so-called normal, or what Cynthia Ford, the founder, calls. So you've got special needs, and then you just got special kids. They are in the midst of an ambitious project to finally get a theater space together. They've put on 25 plus shows, but they've always been in a different space. They've had to rent out different spaces throughout the area. And they are in the midst of trying to finish off a building in Moss Creek, the Bridge Theater Center. It's the old gold gym building. It's a very large building. It's going to be a great theater space for the theater, but also for all of their storage of costumes and sets. And it's going to be a great space, not just for Bluffton Youth Theater, but all of the different theater groups that need spaces around the region. We're excited to see this finish, but they need help. And if there's any organization that I can think of that deserves help, it's Bluffton Youth Theater. So we coordinated with Andrew Davis and the crew at WSAV, got them set up with Cynthia. That aired earlier this week on WSAV, and huge shout out to Andrew and Daniel Cobb for wanting to put that story on the air. We wanted to get Cynthia on to just have a conversation about what they're trying to do, what they need, and most importantly, how you can help. Everybody around here wants to help. I know that. I've seen it in action. We've seen it with DJ's Day of Giving. We've seen it anytime there's a tragedy around here. What we have here, folks, is an amazing, borderline revolutionary effort in terms of what Cynthia and the crew at Bluffton Youth Theater are doing to just bring kids into the fold of the arts, but also destigmatize some of these illnesses and these conditions. Normalize and show people that these kids have such amazing potential, amazing skills if we just shed some light and just let them grab the spotlight. It's inspiring what that whole crew does. And so we want to bring on the founder of Bluffton Youth Theater, Cynthia Ford, here on Low Country Chronicle. We've got the founder of the Bluffton Youth Theater, Cynthia Ford. Cynthia, appreciate you joining us. Saw the posts on Facebook. That got spread around pretty good, and then saw the interview on WSAV. Where are you guys at in terms of getting the theater space done?
Right now, in our first phase is about $20,000 that we would like to have within the next 2 weeks.
It's not undoable with the folks around here. And it's such an amazing cause, what y'all do and how you do it. I know you've always been in theater, but what got you into specifically wanting to do this style of theater with special needs kids?
I've raised my sister for 45 years. She has special needs. Obviously, she's my inspiration. She's our forever child. So I'm also have my master's in special education and worked in that field. And I am very closely tied with Special Olympics, Pockets Full of Sunshine because of my sister. So that's my inspiration. Should I show you a picture of her?
Sure.
She's the cutest thing in the world. Can you see her with the
I
family?
can, absolutely.
That's her. That's her. That's our
What's her
pride.
name?
Jane-O. That's her nickname. And her full name is Beverly Jane Sum. And she is well known by a lot of people in the area. She's a very popular person. But she's our
Absolutely.
inspiration. That's the inspiration there. She's it. Our Jane-O. And raising her since she was younger, I've been involved with the special needs for that long. So I've seen the difficulties, the challenges, and the joys that all go with that.
How long has the theater been going here in Bluffton?
2015 is when we started it. We
How many
started with
shows?
26, I would say.
Wow.
At least 26.
And you're preparing a show right now.
Yep. And in April, May, we would like to do Aladdin. In June, it will be Annie, as well as Finding Nemo, and possibly the musical Six. In August, Little Mermaid. In September, October, Beetlejuice. We have a haunted house we'd like to do, also in October, and November, December, Rudolph.
Wow.
So we don't
That's an
stop.
aggressive schedule.
That's who I am.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't do anything light-footed, do you?
No, especially getting a large building like this. It's 12,000 square feet.
Yeah, it's the Old Gold's Gym space, and for anybody who knows that space, it's legit. And
Yep.
you're putting shows on there technically now,
Yeah.
but it's not finished. It's an old-fashioned actor's studio.
Kind of.
It kind of
But
has the look,
like the big thing is that like we would have to rent bathrooms, which cost us money. See what I'm saying? Is that
Yeah.
there's just different things like that, and so we're limited on what we do, basically. So we need to get the building finished. We really can't keep going like this. It's costing too much money because we can't really use a building to the full capacity. Now, when I say 20,000, we had 3 phases to our building. We're trying to finish the first phase, which is obviously the biggest phase. The second phase is to outfit the catering kitchen that we have in there and get that ready. And the third phase is to finish the back room, which is probably 6,000 square feet.
And that the back room, is that where everyone gets dressed, or when you say
Yeah,
back
and our
room, what?
storage, basically, it has a cement floor and it's not sealed. So we call it the dust room. So it's dusty just because the floor, it's a cement floor that's not finished. So it's a storage room, but it affects us because all of our stuff is in there getting dusty. Yeah, so hard to explain.
You have been basically to this point finding spaces wherever you can, correct? In
Exactly.
terms of putting on the shows.
Yep, exactly. And we've been in a lot of different places. And not just putting the shows, it's rehearsal.
Sure.
And it doesn't have a lot of spaces. And there isn't spaces that are large. We had to go into a building with a high ceiling, sprinklers. It was already insulated, so there's a lot of good things. And where it was located, good parking, things like that. And
Absolutely.
we're trying to make it
Central
all,
between Bluffton, Hilton Head. Yeah.
and we have to make it everything handicap accessible. So we have ramps up to our stage and things like that. So having something upstairs, not good. So that was all in the plans. And we have had a lot of wonderful people. Cord Atkins did our architect for pro bono. We've just had different people donating different things, but it's taken an extra year, really, which could set anybody back. And we've had to fix
Absolutely.
stuff. Those are old buildings. The Moss Creek Village essentially they're the older part in the area. Great space, but older. So things had to be fixed
For
more than
sure.
you can't see those things until you find out. Oh, until you start digging and you're like, oh, we put more air conditioning in. We moved air conditioner units to make the stage, added bathrooms, walls. We put a sound room in for all of our equipment, lighting up. So We're really almost there. And if we get our first stage done, it's better because then we'll rent out the space. We have people that would like to rent out the space that would help go towards our theater. So basically what would happen is once the building's done, our funding would come like 1/3 from fundraising, 1/3 from rental, and 1/3 from our shows. But the main reason
Gotcha.
is the shows. So if you rent from us, you're really giving towards a good cause.
Youth theater in general, in terms of just introducing the next generation of the arts and helping to cultivate the next generation of artists, is a great cause in of itself. But what you do in terms of integrating quote unquote normal kids, and I don't mean to be insulting, I hate the terminology, I hate the normal
Right.
versus special needs. It's a way for normal folks to understand, but I guess
So
they've
what
got
I say
special needs, but they're pretty extraordinary.
Correct. What I say is I have some kids with special needs, and then I have kids that are special. So that's how I describe it. But
Yeah.
what I do teach is everybody has a strength, everybody has a weakness, and you have both. Everybody has the both, and you have to work together. So when you're in unity, your strength helps my weakness, and my strength helps your weakness, and that's really the way it is. And I think what we're trying to do is make it not a negative thing. So I always say, I'm trying to change the world one word at a time. So you see a special needs person, or you see an autistic or whatever, you'll say, oh, how can I help them? Which is a nice thing to say. But I don't know how many people say, how can they help us? Because that whole idea would be they're here for a purpose, not just here for us to help them and we need to help them. It is true, they need special things. That's why they have special needs, but they are here, they're made in God's image, and they're here, that they're made that way. So they're not broken. They're just a different type of person. These young people, when they come into train with me or us, they find it normal. So here's they have Down syndrome, obviously you can tell, but that's just part of their thing. And you have glasses, you have
Yeah.
big ears. It's just a thing. Some people have a harder time. They have ADHD, so they need, maybe it's not, if I have a group of kids, this is how I train them. I say, some of you guys were born and you really don't wiggle that much. You're just pretty quiet. You don't wiggle. But then there are kids that are born and they wiggle a lot. So if I ask the wigglers to stop wiggling, it's very hard for them. But if I ask you that weren't born as wigglers, it's very easy. You can just sit there. You have no trouble at all. So we have to understand that the wigglers have a little more problem. So we have to give them a little grace. We have to understand that's who they are instead of just yell, stop wiggling. That's who they are. And then and vice versa, the kids that are wigglers, they get on stage and they're moving around and they're more animated. Where the quiet ones, I have to work with them. So each one is a part of the whole. And if you don't have one part, you don't have a whole.
The performances are amazing. They're really talented actors and actresses, but you can
They don't come that way.
tell.
They don't
No,
come
of
that
course, but you can tell that the joy that this is giving, and it's almost just unlocking a new social level for them and a new confidence with every line they're able to, or every expression they're able to express on the stage.
to
It's really
cultivate.
extraordinary what you're doing.
Yeah, because we really we purpose to cultivate teamwork, which I realize sports do that. But if I have a child come in, or a teen or whatever, and there we have a little break time, like a snack time, and I see that one child sitting by themselves, I'll go up to the group and I'll quietly say, "Hey, let me just talk to you a minute. See that kid over there?" I don't make a big thing out of it. I don't let the person know, but I'll say, what do you think if you were that person? You think you could let them into your group? And then they're like, oh yeah. So they go over. So I direct them to go over to people that you probably wouldn't go over to. So they're used to, because most people don't do that. They're just stay in their little
No.
group. And even people in general do that. So instead, I'm telling you right now, if you go over and you let them in, they'll be part of the group. One of the probably other unique things is we don't have any electronics in our theater. So that's a huge thing. At first, the kids are like, oh, no, my phone, my watch, but we're like, no, it's time to get to know each other. So that's a very unusual thing as well, especially in this day and age.
Oh
A
my
little bit of
goodness.
withdrawal symptom, but they really begin to grow together. They're still kids, still young people, make a lot of noise, run around, a little hard to control. But I always tell them, I really do like it when you're making a lot of noise because I can see you're getting to know each other. However, I don't really like it because you need to quiet down so we can do the show.
Sure. And in the end, you're just blending everyone
Yeah.
and destigmatizing whatever stigmas are there just because of the unknown, honestly.
Yes.
It
Yes.
and that's what I like. I've been watching this show called Balin Out Loud, all about this girl with severe Tourette syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And it just reminds me this is their normal. And
Yes.
the more we destigmatize, and it's not their problem. How we relate to them
Yes.
is our problem.
Yes.
You know?
So they take, so you have a special needs child person. They have a lifetime of being taught how to get along in the world. But normal people never learn to get along with them. They're, and I realize, obviously, I've lived through when my sister was born. You were talking institutionalized. She was one of the
Yes.
only wasn't. We've come out of that era where my parents said we're going to put her in regular school, which is a big deal. That was a huge deal. My mother had to go for 3 years. She had to go over to the school when Jano first started, changing her diaper like 3 times a day, helping out. And but they wanted her integrated because my father always said a lot of them kids learn by imitation. So if you have them all with special needs, that's what they're going to learn because they're going to imitate that. Not that my sister has a lot of her close friends have special needs, but when you are with a large number of special needs, they're most of them very accepting. There's no racial barriers, no age barriers, no intellectual barriers. They're all just together and they're very encouraging. So it's a delight. Now, it's another thing I'm blending them. So both sides have to learn like this is okay. And really, they don't think they're special. I understand we have kids, they know they're autistic. They will tell you that. They know they have ADHD, they know they have dyslexia. But really that's just a label. They're just who they are. Like I'm a woman. This is a guy. It's not like you're going around saying that. It does help, obviously. It was interesting. We had one of our autistic young people. Sometimes they have some meltdowns, and at first, it's a little jarring for everybody. But after a few rehearsals, when they have it, I'll say, "Hey," I'll say to the kid, "How you doing?" Like, oh, it's they having a meltdown. Like they don't even notice it. They're just like, "Okay, he's just gonna go out for a little while." And they don't. It's nothing to them. It's because it's normal. So we've had different ones that they really would never interact. And I realize our schools are more integrated, but they're still not integrated. They're still,
No.
they're still separated, which I understand. I get it. And you have to be able to understand them. But you can't understand them if you're not with them. It's hard. And kids are pretty resilient. I have all sorts of young people and they can be molded in the correct way if you just allow them to, and you direct them. They don't do
Just
it.
give them a chance to shine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Give them a chance, and it's pretty awesome when a kid with special needs comes in and they have difficulty off stage, and then they get on stage, they're like really good. You're like, I didn't know you could do that, and then they just begin to shine, and the other kids really respect them for that. The theater is really a great place for kids with special needs. You're not really who you are, you're somebody else. I think we need to get the community more involved. We're looking to use the space for Special Olympics activities, for community activities, but we have to get the building finished.
Got to get the building done first. Listen, you've been shoestringing this for
pretty
for
much.
10 years now, and you've
Yep.
been doing an amazing job, and we're going to do our part and do what we can to just try to get you over the hump here, because what y'all are doing is just amazing. We're in a time where we can feel pretty divided,
Yeah.
and this brings joy to folks. Anybody who goes to a show, it's joy, it's togetherness, it's just all the right emotions that we all need in our lives. Can't thank you enough for what you're doing, your relentlessness in getting to this goal, and just to have secured the building, to have moved this ball down the field. We got to get in the end zone at this point, right?
Yeah, because I'm holding the ball here. Like it's gonna crush me pretty soon.
Yeah.
That's not. It's we'll get it. I believe that we have good people in this community, and we'll have some angels that are going to come alongside and boost us a little bit here.
I appreciate you very much making the time, and for all you do for the community, for our kids, for the adults, everyone who's part of this effort. And I know you got rehearsals going on for Beauty and the Beast Junior. Appreciate you making the time.
Thank you so much. And come out,
Absolutely.
continue to come out and visit us and see what we've gotten accomplished.
That is Cynthia Ford. When I tell you that woman is a dynamo, she is incredible. And I'm so grateful that she had the time to join us today to talk about the plight, talk about the joy, all the feels that this project brings to the community, where they're at with it. She is a doer, okay? And a lot of times doers don't like to ask for help. I know this. I was never good at asking for help. I tell this to folks all the time that working on DJ's Day of Giving, which kind of brings us full circle, working on DJ's Day of Giving taught me that A, it's okay to ask for help, and B, people are looking to help. They just need direction into where to funnel their goodness. And it took me way too long to figure that out, but I've figured that out now, and you really see the good in the community. I'll be honest, I get tired of asking for folks to step up in tragedies. Goodness knows everyone does. And that is not to say I am any less grateful. People are amazing, and they pick up their neighbors when things go wrong here. This is something that's going very right, and it's a proven commodity in this community. And I just can't implore folks enough. Give what you can. The address is at the bottom of the screen. And for those listening, it's Bluffton Youth Theatre with an RE theater.org/donations. Bluffton Youth Theater.org/donations.